Now we're going to keep the show going with an absolutely lovely, lovely performer. You have seen her at Bridgetown Comedy Festival. She's been at San Francisco Sketch Fest, all around town. She's an absolutely fantastic comedian. Also, founder of her own fantastic showcase every Monday night at East Burnside. It is, oh my God. Now I'm like, no, I'm looking at you and you're just too cute. It's going to be okay. That's the name of the show. And it is going to be okay, and her show's going to be even better. You guys, it is Barbara Holm.
Round of applause for Jenna, please. And Jeremiah and John. So good. Okay, start the clock. Hey, everybody. My name is Barbara. What are you going to do with the bikini top?
I could put it on right now. Or
Yeah?
already share with a friend.
Oh, okay. I mean, you do whatever you want with it. Like, use it to make horse noises if you want. That's a Monty Python joke. When I was 5, my mom was, she was probably like 33. I was 5. She was not 5. But she was, for Halloween, a hula girl, and she had a bikini top and a hula skirt and an ukulele that she couldn't play. And I think that was the first time in my life, but definitely not the last time, that I ever called my parents racist. So it's a long tradition of... Anyway, I went on a date recently, 7 months ago, and toward the end of the date, the gentleman was like, "Can I kiss you?" And I was like, "I don't know, oh, this is why I'm alone." I'm not saying I'm lonely, I do ride my bicycle so that my maidenhood doesn't grow back. I'm alone, who's with me? I, like Jenna, am also aging. I recently had a birthday. Anybody else experiencing time? Put your hands together. I'm 28, and my body is starting to change, not into a werewolf. Damn it. And the other day, I was walking down the street, and I saw this little girl, and my ovaries were like, "Hey, maybe we should have a baby." But then, like a cell phone, my brain auto-corrected, and it was like, "Did you mean cat?" But I'm not quite responsible enough to take care of a cat. Can't really handle that level of pressure. So my brain auto-corrected again, and it was like, "Did you mean a framed portrait of 2 pugs in bowler hats?" Folks, I ain't got that kind of money, so my brain auto-corrected again, and it was like, "Did you mean pizza?" But growing up, I had an eating disorder, and I still I have a lot of like feelings that are related to food. I can't really look at cheesy carbohydrates without seeing a puppet show of my ex-boyfriend fucking a girl in an anime costume. So I can't have pizza, so my brain auto-corrected again, and it was like, "Did you mean anti-anxiety medication?" But I'm worried that might affect my stage persona or my work ethic, and it might do something to who I am as an artist, so I can't really jeopardize something I'm compulsively addicted to, like stand-up, in exchange for something that might one day make me happy. So I can't have anti-anxiety medication, so my brain auto-corrected again, and it was like, "Did you mean the ability to accept that maybe someday somebody might actually love you?" But I'm not that self-aware. So my brain auto-corrected one final time, and I was like, "Barbara, did you mean a 900-page book about witches?" Yes, I did. I do read a lot of books about witches and vampires for the articles. I am a girl nerd, and I think a lot of men in their 20s think of girl nerds as like magical unicorns, you know, because we mostly attract virgins. But no, I mean nerds are sexual beings, right? Like everyone's a sex. Yeah. If nerds are so bad at sex, then why are my vibrators starting to gain awareness? I did recently get to know someone in the biblical sense, by which I mean I knew nothing about them, and during the orgasm part of the sexual intercourse, during that time of the intercourse, I have a not to gross anybody out or anything. And so I'm sorry if I am. I have a very high pitched orgasm noise, which is weird, right? Because my speaking voice sounds like James Earl Jones. So. It's very high pitched, and the gentleman that I was with was like, "I'm sorry, was that a fake orgasm?" And I was like, "No, it's just two orgasms atop each other's shoulders in a trench coat." I'm gonna see how you'd be easily confused. I used to work at a call center. Anybody else disappointing their parents? This guy ended a phone call one time by being like, "Thank you so much for your help, and Jesus loves you." And I was like, "He said that?" What was the context? I did read an article recently that this guy found an image of Jesus represented in a cabinet at IKEA, which seems like a weird place for a carpenter to hang out. So... doubt it was the real guy. I am from Seattle, or as I like to think of it, suicidal man San Francisco. I think depression is a lot like one of those classic iPods, because anytime I tell someone I have it, they're like, "Still?" I got rid of that in high school. I don't mean to make jokes. I used to be very depressed. I had to give it up because it was cutting into my drinking alone time. I used to have, as I mentioned earlier, I used to have an eating disorder, but now even that's gone down the toilet. It's hard, like lately I've been trying to be healthier. I've been trying to count my calories, but I have no idea how many spiders crawl into my mouth when I'm sleeping. This is totally messing up my count. And I don't mean to make jokes that would belittle the victim, because I empathize, of course, with all of those, and so I write those jokes because I want anyone to know, if you have depression or anxiety, you're not alone. There's lots and lots of people. Anxiety is actually the most common mental illness in America, and that just makes me so nervous. So it's gonna be okay. I am not sure if I have a teacher's fetish or if I am just used to men saying, "Okay, anybody else besides Barbara?" Oh, I do okay. Don't worry about me. I did mention I was from Seattle earlier, and one person wooed, and that's the appropriate response. It's a test. Did you guys know if you're in Seattle and if you tell any comedy audience, "I live in Portland now," every single comedy audience is like, "Yay, Portland, we love it." But if you're in Portland and if you tell any comedy audience, "I grew up in Seattle," every single comedy audience is like, "Oh, honey, are you okay? Do you need some kombucha flavored kale? We're here for you." Which is great. I got bullied a lot in Seattle, but don't feel bad for me, because the Seattle version of bullying is just some nerd screaming, "Why won't you fuck me?" But then they write an acoustic rock song about it. So it's okay. I was on a comedy show in Seattle one time. I'm clearly kind of good at this, and this male comedian came up to me and he was like, "How did you get booked on this show?" Super polite, right? So I was like, because I'm articulate. And then he said, "Pretty girls get everything they want." So I said, "Then why are you still talking to me?" That joke might have sounded a little bit man-hating because it was funny, but I don't hate men. A lot of people think I do hate men because I'm so smart, but they're actually okay. Anytime I do happen to date women and men and people that don't identify, and I happen to date whoever's cool and awesome, and I never knew, I was just there's no word for that. I just am well-adjusted. And my friend Star was like, "No, Barbara, you're pansexual. Because if you have a friend named Star, she would know a word like that." And Sarah was like, oh, pansexual means you fuck everything. And I was like, well, what if you just like have a crush on everything but never tell anybody? Draw a lot of dirty drawings in your journal like that. So what is anyway? But I do date a lot of men, which is fine. It's what my haircut has decided is going to be. And anytime I go through a breakup with a guy, my friend Jessica is like, well, all men are pigs, which is too harsh, right? Because men make mistakes, but I would never compare an entire gender of people to police officers. Did you guys know that you should never yell if you're being if you think you're about to be assaulted or attacked, you should never yell rape. Did you guys know that? What are you supposed to yell? Fire. Because in 2015, nobody gives a fuck about yet another sexual assault. But everyone wants a chance to see a Dalmatian. They're so cute. Being a woman is a lot like riding a bike. The more I learn about it, the less safe I feel. That'll be the last feminist joke. You guys can unclench. And there might be more later. I have no idea. I like to think of myself as a beer connoisseur, or as beer probably thinks of it, I'm a monster. I grew up in a small town outside of Seattle called North Bend. It was the kind of town where people regularly started conversations with the phrase, legend has it. It's weird, one time, it's like this weird conservative, it's weird when you go anywhere outside of Seattle or Portland in Oregon or Washington, anywhere outside of there, as soon as you go like 10 minutes away, it's like, where did all the Republicans come from? I don't feel good about this. Anyway, but in my school one week when I was in high school, this little boy named, well, he was like my height, he was probably taller. He wore this t-shirt to school during Pride that said, it's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. A kid named Brad wore that t-shirt to school. And so I went up to him and I was like, hey, Brad, actually, it's Adam and Eve, not Brad and anyone. That bully had to legally change his name. It's the only way you'll ever get happiness. I mentioned that I spent most of my young life in Seattle, and it's weird. There's a lot of subtle racism in Seattle. I've had no less than 5 men say to me, you're the first non-Japanese girl I've ever dated. And I don't know how the fuck I'm supposed to respond to that. Thank you for slumming it. I'm sorry that your low self-esteem repository was out of your fucking racist fetish. But I'm so glad my Lolita bangs helped me make the cut. Because it's so weird how people of color are sexually objectified, right? Entirely white audience. Like if you're a woman of color, you're either put on some sort of weird sexual pedestal or you're completely othered. And the other day I was looking at these photos of my friend on Facebook, and my mom goes, oh, she's just so exotic looking. And I'm like, you should see her dancing. And it's awful, right? Like, I don't know if you guys can tell, I'm half white, half wood nymph. I don't want to be fetishized by those pervy nymphomaniacs. I got a beer with my baby brother recently. He's not a baby, he's an adult. I don't get beer with babies, just cocaine. And after the bartender took his order, instead of taking my order, the bartender just said to my brother, not me, and what would your lovely girlfriend like? And my brother said, probably for me to spend less time getting drunk with this nerd. Which is adorable, right? So cute. And so he got home and he told that story to my dad, and my dad was like, you know, you could do a lot worse than your sister. you sure know how to make a girl feel like she's covered in dog hair. I'm going to do a couple more things and then leave you guys because I'm so excited for your headliner. She's amazing. This is Christine Levine. Are you guys excited? Yeah. Am I pretty now? Sorry, I said there were going to be no more feminist jokes. Too bad. I think that it's awful, like when men get mad at women for not liking them or for not wanting to date them. Like whenever some guy is like, girls never date me, they're bitches. It's like I didn't realize that being a kind person was dependent on whether or not we put out. But I guess that explains why Mother Teresa was such a player. I bet she was like, hey, honey, do you have leprosy? Because I want to give you a sponge bath. Hey, sweetie, you sure are smoking because you make me want to kick off this habit. Hey, baby, did both of your parents die very painfully of starvation? Because you put the fun in orphan. Sometimes I think that everybody I love would be happier if I just disappeared from existence. But that's because everybody I love is super into magic. Thank you guys so much. My name is Barbara Holm. Keep it going for Barbara Holm.